Welcome back, everybody.
There's going to be background noise on my end because it's fucking boiling. It's 25 minutes to 9 and it's about...
A million degrees outside.
Is it hot in Hastings?
It is. It's so hot everywhere.
But because I got rained on today. Like everyone's going, oh, it's really hot today. And I got absolutely pissed on.
You lucky bastard.
It was really, really quite something.
But we are back. Oh my god, it's hot. But
yeah,
we're doing this for the fan.
Wait, no, the fan's on. It's blowing air at me.
Then why are we doing this?
Because the fan likes it. Listen.
I can tell.
That's probably the weirdest start we've done to one of these. But
At least it didn't just start with silence like it sometimes does.
Oh yeah, but that's when I'm just trying to scare you into thinking that something's gone wrong.
True.
Should we have some Jack the Ripper styley stuff?
Yes. I feel like that's the theme,
The
for this episode.
Murder and London and
Specifically, Whitechapel.
the area known as.
It's not just known as, it's actually, the district's called Whitechapel, right?
I know. We played that Sherlock Holmes game.
And, oh, you haven't played it yet, but Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Oh, I'll get around to it at some point. Oh, yeah, PS4. New slim one, 250 quid. We're probably going to get for that one of those. Anyway,
Ooh.
which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the one that's set in 1889 or the one that's set in 2008?
Let's do it chronologically. So,
Yeah.
the one furthest back in history.
Okay, so Whitechapel, Rippers. It's bizarrely, they're quite weirdly similar, aren't they? In a lot of ways. But Ripper Street, what is Ripper Street all about? Ripper Street, yes, it's all about the police in Whitechapel.
Set 6 months after the actual Ripper killings.
Yep, and it's a lot of the police's time is when they're dealing with crimes is to sort of suppress the memory of Jack the Ripper. So
Especially when there's a copycat killing.
yeah,
I think that was more, that's what they're going for. But there's also, there's the police officer, not the police officer, the press officer,
yes,
who was just like, who tampered with the scene to make it look more like a Ripper killing.
Fred Best, was that him?
Yes.
Was that his name? Oh my god, there's a daddy long. I've just shot a moth in my room, and now there's a daddy longlegs flying about. So anyway,
Yeah. But it's weird, because I'm pretty sure, during the Ripper killing, wasn't half the issue was there was just a lot of, like, media interference in the...
in the actual Jack the Ripper killing.
Yeah. Wasn't there a lot of
What?
media stuff
Yeah.
going around it? And I think...
I think so, because the papers gave him the name Jack the Ripper, or oh no, he wrote someone left a letter, which was claiming that it was written by Jack the Ripper and refers to themselves as Jack the Ripper, but I think the newspapers probably they jumped on it.
probably as much as they would now, I suppose.
Well, yeah. Do you know what? I used to know quite a lot about Jack the Ripper, and I'm realising now I've forgotten it all. Because when I was first getting to know Lisa's family, they were saying like they were really into Sherlock Holmes and Jack the Ripper and that sort of thing. So we spent a lot of time talking about that and watching things about it and everything. Weirdly, we never watched this, but it's the sort of thing that I imagine they'd really like.
Yeah.
And I have done a Jack the Ripper walk before, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, that's how it starts, this show. They start as just some tourists on a Jack the Ripper walk.
Yeah, that was really weird. In 1889, because there's one in Whitechapel, obviously it's Steve Pemberton, but in this, like, the Ripper walks start in 6 months after the fact, and it's just a bizarre...
Wasn't it, like,
bizarre
one of the
thought.
first high-profile serial killing cases?
I think he was the first, well...
I don't think he would have... He
as far
wouldn't...
as-
Maybe not the first serial killer, but maybe the first...
Yeah, the first sort of
Because this would have been around the time of, like, printing presses really coming into their own. And I think to an extent, like, there would have been transatlantic stuff, so news would have been worldwide, even if it was delayed by 6 months. Because of
I don't know. Did they? Well, at what point was the wireless invented? Because it was ready for World War One, obviously, but I don't know if it's
well, they would have had telegrams
yeah, so they
around
could
this time,
communicate it.
and maybe, and that would have been transatlantic. So yeah, probably
I mean,
would have been fine.
We've got to be completely honest. I am speculating wildly here, but yeah. So it's a really good show. I thought. Nice to see Bronn having a bit of action as well.
Yeah, it's weird seeing people that you recognise from other stuff.
Yeah, especially with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
Game of
he's
Thrones
great.
meets Spooks. I love it.
Oh, is the main chap? What's his name? He's actually in.
Yeah,
Spooks, is he?
he was quite a first and last episode of Spooks.
Okay, Matthew McFadden. That's him.
Yeah, Tom in
Um,
Spooks, Bronn from Game of Thrones. Pretty sure there were some other people that I recognised, but
Yeah, I actually found with both shows. Actually, I found they're the sort of actors that you look at and you go, I know you from somewhere, but I cannot put my finger on where. And half the fun of watching this for me was trying to work out where I'd recognise people. Like the chap, I can't remember his name, Joe something. The guy they set up at the fights, the bare knuckle fights.
yeah,
I'd recognise it. He was in Green Street. I think he played the Millwall leader in Green Street, I think, and yeah, there's a bunch of other people. I was like, oh, I know you.
yeah. So it's I guess that's something that you get with BBC and English shows. There's not we have a lot of actors, but we seem to have a very small pot of like TV actors who'll do.
Yeah,
It's just I think, and they just crop up a lot and they seem to play. Sort of wildly some quite different characters. Although, for Matthew McFadden, this and Spooks are quite similar. It's just the language is a bit different, just
and
because of the time.
technology.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have access to like the internet, which makes it a lot easier. Just she done porn. Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. Like that, it was quite. Well, it was reflecting social anxieties of today now, isn't it? 'Cause even today, there's been a report of young people not understanding the dangers of like naked pictures and things like that.
This
But
is
it was
that's a
quite
different
prevalent.
kind of danger though. This was like
And this is like
people are being murdered.
Yeah, but if you just look at it as an allegory, there, then it still works. But this is still going. I didn't know this. Ripper
Yeah,
Street is
still going. Yeah, season
4 was on this year,
oh, because
I think.
it's still showing up on iPlayer. I don't know if maybe.
I'll tell you why. Series 4 was out on Amazon UK on the 15th of January this year.
But it's
and
just started
BBC
showing
Two,
on BBC Two now.
Yeah, it's just started on the 22nd of August, so that'll be wrapping up, I guess,
Well,
if it hasn't already.
yeah, probably. But no, I really enjoyed it. I didn't realise this is the second time I've watched that. It wasn't until I was sort of like
Oh, really?
I saw the photographer and was like, hey, like the second time you see him when he goes to get them, you're like, wait, you have something to do with this. I know it. Like you're taking nudies, just like,
Yeah.
and you're just like, I see. But I'd
That's what
forgotten about the
Dylan-
snuff film thing. Forgotten
Yeah.
about that.
That was kind of intense, but that led to one of my most favourite moments in the entire show. Was the I can't remember the guy's name, but Edmund Reed, that's it, and I think it's Drake as well. They burst in on them making a snuff film, and he's running up to him, so
Just
and
runs
he's
in with a sword.
Oh, God, no! This is terrible. You really shouldn't do this. I forgot that Drake stabs one of them with a sword, and the other one goes, "Oh, regardless of what you're up to here, this camera's pretty good. Well done."
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you doing?"
just as it's. What I like is that even like when like the photographer's been caught like red-handed making like something that is still frowned upon today in a snuff
Frowned
film.
upon, do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll get
an,
a slap wrist for
an
making one of them.
unwilling snuff film.
Are there many willing snuff films?
Maybe. Don't know. It's not really something I've researched.
Next time on the Co-Pilots podcast. Top 10.
Ah, no, we can't. If we could find 10, we'd go to prison. That would be about the long and short of it. But even like after the fact of being caught red-handed, he still just like sets it on fire. And it's just like, oh, there's no evidence. He's also dead. But I think
that really shocked me. Actually, I was like, "Oh Jesus!"
I think it's just because I don't know. I think there was a lot of. I think the main sort of emotion for the whole thing was just shame. Apart from
Yeah,
the guy who was like well into it. Apart from him, everyone else was like. Everyone else involved was just ashamed to be involved.
he was the only one having a bit of a good time, wasn't
Yeah.
he? So then, does this? So have you seen any more other than the pilot of Ripper Street?
It's possible.
Okay.
Like, I can't remember.
Offhand, do you know if it goes into sort of like a crime of the week sort of thing, like a police procedural thing, or is there an overarching story? Do they still have to deal with the?
I imagine there
Jack the
is,
Ripper?
but I think maybe this was like the first episode is just sort of setting up and giving you an idea of the time period and what it was like.
Yeah.
And Jack the Ripper is quite an easy sort of
It's
entry
easy
into
in, isn't it? Yeah, that's
into
a very
that
good
sort
point,
of-
actually. I hadn't thought of that.
because it's a story that is well known and well documented even through just TV series and
Yeah.
films and stuff.
But I guess it's got that sort of.
And also, like, it's probably one of the earliest documented, like, big sort of crime sprees.
Unsolved as well. That's what I was going to say. Is that it has that added factor of mystery where you can sort of have a bit of creative license with it, even though this is after the fact, But what I'd like if because I might carry on watching this, but what I'd really like to see is that there's just sort of the spectre of Jack the Ripper hanging over the entire area of Whitechapel the whole time. So every crime, everyone's just sort of not saying it but thinking, oh, this could be him again. Don't know what's going on.
See,
that
I
I'd really like.
I thought that this was like the first episode quite neatly ties up that like it's not always going to be a Ripper case.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
sort of just I thought to me this episode just sort of goes like, okay, look, yes, Jack the Ripper was a thing that's it's quite recent, but this is them moving on and just accepting that it's not been solved.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't mind if it did turn into a, monster of the week sort of deal, but
I imagine it does, but I
wouldn't go that tone.
do sort of hope that there is sort of more to it, sort of like a more overarching story that continues rather than just sort of
Individual cases.
yeah.
Well, maybe even like two-parters or something. That's something that I think Daredevil should have capitalised on, is having more court cases, more cases.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I think because there are some shows that really get away with that format of just like CSI and stuff gets away with it because that's. Although this is just a Victorian CSI, really.
Yeah, I guess. Except without the forensic sort of team.
Well, it's more of a
Well, kind of, but
vague sort of like
cut him up, see what happened.
yeah, just
Rather than-
they were strangled. Ah, well that's not Ripper, is it? But no, it's good, and I might watch some more of it, see where it goes.
Yeah.
But I don't know really how far I'd go through it before. Although I don't know, I'm quite liking the time period that it's set in at the moment.
I really like the setting and the period of the piece. I really don't like Edmund Reed, the main chap. I really, really don't like him.
What is in the acting or just the character?
I the performance actually, which is terrible, more than the character, because the character, I don't necessarily disagree with what the character's trying to do, because he does seem to be trying to, genuinely help and make things better and that sort of thing. But I just don't like the guy's performance. I think it's a bit over the top. Whereas Drake, who's Jeremy Flynn, who is Bronn in Game of Thrones, he's just amazing.
Yeah. What I like is that it shows how the policing was different as well. Because he quite happily just beats the shit out of a guy until he tells him what he wants to know.
Hang on, he stabs a guy with a sword.
Yeah, but I mean that... maybe not with a sword, but that can still happen now. But you can't... That's torture, what he did. That's sort of not okay outside of vigilantism. I've just had a quick skim over sort of the... synopsize for the rest of the season. And it looks like every time Abeline shows up, it's something to do with the Ripper. So he sort of turns up and just goes, Ripper, and then they have to do something about it. So it looks like it is sort of a continuous theme. But I think it's more focused on his obsession rather than...
Who's Abeline again? I'm terrible.
He's the chief inspector, yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's what I thought, is that because he was leaning one particular way, wasn't he? But...
Yeah, it was cool. I recognise the name because he's a character in Syndicate. So I was just like, oh, cool.
Oh, really? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because, Syndicate's set in slightly earlier. I think it's set in 1840s.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's actually set before the Ripper, so you meet a young Abeline.
Yeah.
And then...
there is DLC with Jack the Ripper, though, isn't there?
Yeah, it's called the Jack the Ripper DLC.
Ah, that's
he's
catchy, snappy title.
I know, and he's a failed assassin.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right, don't tell me anymore, because Victoria.
You're gonna have to play that. It's so good.
I want to play that and Bloodborne for my Victoriana fix.
Yeah.
When I eventually get.
Overall, I quite like the show. I probably will watch some more of it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't commit to all of it.
Yeah, I'd go until I sort of got bored.
Yeah, and I feel like.
Which I think may be a series, but.
I think I could maybe 2 seasons, and then maybe I'll be a bit bored of it.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good. Shall we move on to Whitechapel?
Yes. Modern day Jack the Ripper stuff.
Right, so Jack the Ripper was a man or woman, we don't know.
I think as pairing shows together go, I don't think we could.
I don't think we can get closer.
Yeah.
Unless we do like Simpsons and Family Guy, but we've already done Simpsons, so.
Well, I don't think Simpsons Family Guy is not close enough. This is just the same story, different time period.
Yeah. Okay, so. Yeah, it really is. It's the same show, except they're investigating a copycat killing.
And they know it's a copycat killing because it happened 300 years or 250 years after the...
Isn't there there's some doubt from the sort of the more... I don't know how to describe them, but the guys who are the detectives, with the obvious exception of Rupert Penry Jones' character, they seem to have come from a more working class upbringing. I
think that's part of the dynamic of the show, is that he's like this posh, sort of... Yeah, he's just there, just but I know all this stuff, but he's not...
He's not got the experience.
He's not a caseworker. He's sort of like a manager.
Yeah,
more than...
I've really fucking related to that, because I feel like I'm more sort of... The jobs I've done, I feel like I've got a more sort of working class attitude to things, rather than... Even though, we went to uni.
Well, who doesn't nowadays?
Well, a lot of people, because it's really expensive now.
Well, it wasn't when we went, so fuck them.
Wait. No, I still remember it being really quite expensive. But, a third of the price.
It's really quite expensive, but not as expensive.
What I realised while I was watching Whitechapel is I really like these ITV and BBC police dramas that we get in Britain.
Yeah, it also made me realise how much I like really short series.
Oh yeah, it's 3 episodes. I've just said to you, I didn't know it was only 3 episodes. So I'm probably going to finish this week.
Yeah, I mean, what's with this is that the first two seasons focus on like one crime, I think, if I remember rightly. I can't remember about season 2 actually, but season 1 is just one series of crimes. This one case.
Series 2 is focuses on the Cray twins. A third series was commissioned, but it doesn't say what.
Yeah, season 3, I think they do 2-parters rather than the whole series being one case.
Okay.
So they're sort of almost Sherlocky in that they do one case per season.
Except they're not feature length, are they? They're still only. I think
They're still they're an hour.
Was it an
No,
hour?
well they're 40 something minutes because it's ITV, so adverts.
Oh, was it on ITV? Okay. I had in my head this was BBC for some reason. Don't know why.
I thought the same thing. Yeah, they're 45 minutes.
You can generally tell, because with shows that are shown on ITV, if it's an hour-long show, generally they're split up into sort of 15-minute, almost acts, because they've got to allow for adverts and things. So they need, in the first 15 minutes they've got to get from one place to another, but it explains
And then
enough of the story.
Yeah,
but
and then hook you so that you don't change over.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas BBC, you've just got the freedom of,
Yeah, and a full hour to play with. But no, I like the dynamic of the team and how reluctant they are to listen to him.
Yeah, but I did notice that they were very reluctant, but by the end of the show, they were kind of listening to him.
They were reluctant as a whole, but they knew he was right.
Yeah.
So there was just almost like, I can't remember what the old guy's character name is.
Neither can I, but he's really. He's the guy. He plays the taxi driver in the first Sherlock, doesn't he?
Yes, I'm pretty
Martin?
sure he's in.
Detective Sergeant Ray. He's in Being Human. That's where you know him from.
Yep. Yeah, he's in the final season of that.
What's his name? Ray Miles. Did I just say?
Yeah.
Is that what I just said? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's almost like the second in command. So he's telling the rest of them what to do, which is just. And there's the weird, knowledgeable guy who knows all the things about the Jack the Ripper thing.
Steve Pemberton's character.
Yes.
I love Steve Pemberton. I just love him. I want to give him a big hug. Because he makes me laugh and he terrifies me and it's brilliant.
Overall, I think my favourite thing about Whitechapel was the whole using history to solve the case thing. Well, I think it was a really nice idea. It points out that flaw in copycat killings is that they're quite predictable.
Straight away, but then they still miss it.
Yeah. Which is good. I mean, it's hard not to spoil the end of the first series. But the way they have to catch the killer is that they draw all the parallels between the killings, so they already know the locations.
Yeah.
Which is easy enough. I don't know if they go specifically to like the dates and stuff, but so they know the order and where the killings will happen, but they know the victims will be prostitutes. But they have to.
Because the first one wasn't. I thought that was what the weird thing was. The first one was like a substitute teacher or something.
Yeah, maybe actually. Well, they have a lot of. They draw a lot of parallels, so they have to basically solve the Ripper murder to solve the present day murder.
That's actually a really cool thing.
So while you get a lot of them going through like their modern day story, you also get a lot of the history told through this as well. You get a lot of the Ripper story through this. And then in season 2, you get a lot of the Cray story.
I didn't know that. Well, maybe they did. Maybe I've just forgotten. But I didn't think that in the pilot episode they realised that they had to solve the original.
I don't think they did. I think that's something that. I think it's after there's a second one, they all sort of go, hang on a minute. This is copycats. Because, yeah, no, that's how I think it plays out.
Yeah.
So, and I think the most of the team are still reluctant to believe that it's almost that simple.
Well, it even says, Ray Mars guy says, every time there's a stabbing in Whitechapel, everyone thinks it's Jack the Bloody Ripper.
Which, he's actually just talking about Ripper Street because he's been watching it on telly.
Oh, that would be weird. But yeah, so it's a very Jack the Ripper-y.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that even looking further through, they still keep that copycat theme. They're basically the copycat coppers. That's what they become.
Copycat coppers. There's a show that needs to be made.
It's already been made. That's what this is. All of it is copycat killing.
Copycat coppers. Oh dear. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to watching this again. I will finish this at some point.
I can't remember if I've watched it all. I know I've watched seasons 1 and 2.
Oh,
but I can't remember if I've watched 3 and 4. I feel like this is a show that doesn't end because it was bad. It just ends because they've run out of like famous murders
in Whitechapel.
Yeah. But no, I watched the first couple of seasons on Netflix a couple of years ago. Loved it. It's a really good show.
I vaguely remember. Did you watch this at uni?
Yes.
Yeah, I vaguely remember you talking about it.
But you don't always take my opinions.
No, and Fallout 3 is still shit. What's I'm really struggling with at the minute is we have just had a stream of really good pilots.
Yep.
And I'm really struggling to fit in the time because I've still got Hannibal to finish. I want to watch Whitechapel. I might continue with Ripper Street. I've just finished watching the episode for the next podcast, and that's really good too.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And I do want to carry on with that. And there was something else that I've got to carry on with.
Was it 24?
Oh God, I've still got. Well, we finished the first series of 24. We finished it ages ago, actually, before I changed jobs, I think. And
Black Sails.
I've still got.
I
want to watch still. Dracula, I did buy, and I do have somewhere, but
I think this is the trouble with the fact that we're almost backtracking in what we've picked. We're picking shows that are a lot of which are finished. A lot of shows are now finished completely. Will never be back on the air. But there's still so much to watch.
You know what's coming out very, very soon, I've just realised. Do you remember
so many things?
Way back on the 16th of March 2016 we talked about Inside Number 9. That's coming back very, very soon. Cannot wait for that.
I think that's 6 episodes spaced out evenly over a week, like 6 weeks, and it's half an hour a time. I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. Whitechapel and Ripper Street. Whitechapel I'm definitely going to finish and carry on with at least series 1. Ripper Street might carry on, but I'm feeling like I probably won't because I have other stuff to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I find with Ripper Street is that I love the setting, but I don't feel super invested in the characters. Because it's just sort of like...
It's Drake.
Because I like the idea of them sort of... like the first episode was great because of like dealing with the aftermath of Ripper and like that sort of stuff. But if it just turns into a Victorian drama about the police, it might just get boring.
Yeah.
But it might be cool because there might be some cool stuff like steam trains and stuff.
Might be like The Wire, but with Victorian.
Like a really obscure episode of Life on Mars.
Wow, I've gone back really far.
Just like, oh,
This
fuck.
isn't even named after a Bowie song, for Christ's sake. Yeah, I really like Whitechapel, and Steve Pemberton is brilliant.
Yeah. What we need now is more shows set in Whitechapel.
Okay, I think that's it. This has been our 20th episode.
I know.
20. We were just saying that
A lot of TV series get cancelled before they get to episode 20. They can't cancel us. We're self-produced.
There's got to be a list of TV shows that were cancelled in under 20 episodes that we've beaten. And
I can think of one that was cancelled within 4 episodes. And they filmed 7.
That's tragic. What was it? I know. I'm gonna.
I can't remember what it was called.
Brilliant.
Playboy Club or something. Something
What?
like that.
It wasn't Entourage, was it?
No, because that made 8 seasons in a film.
That just makes me angry. Anyway, so
I know. I'm gonna get you Entourage stuff for your birthday.
Fuck, you don't even know my birthday yet.
I'll just get you something once a month just to make sure. Just to make sure I get it.
Oh yeah, you're a great friend. 5th of November.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, this has been episode 20. We'll see you later for the next one.
Goodbye. It was called the Playboy Club.
Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Boy.